Nordic Mindset is a structured psychological training program designed to help people live with clarity and confidence and emotional balance, completely free from constant stress and anxiety, depression, overthinking, worrying, and mental exhaustion. So my name is Michael, and I'm a speaker and trainer here at Nordic Mindset. And the Nordic Mindset program was developed in Denmark by our founder, Søren Lynge. It's built on more than 30 years of internal research, testing, refinement, and, most importantly, practical application with real people facing real mental challenges. In Denmark, we achieved the highest consumer rating of any psychological method, 4.9 on Trustpilot, and that is something that we are truly proud of. Thousands of success stories from people from all walks of life who have felt the burden of mental distress finally lifting and feeling empowered and truly happy and at peace. And also, we have filled the iconic Copenhagen Opera House to the brim with people we have helped and people who are looking for a better solution than traditional talk therapy, which focuses on your past, on your problems, and on your traumas. Over time, one central insight became clear to Søren, our founder, and that is that much of what we call mental suffering or mental distress is not something we have. It is something the mind has learned. And that distinction actually changes everything. Because for decades, mental distress has often been understood primarily as an illness. But when Søren looked closer at stress, anxiety, depression, overthinking, and worrying, he saw something else. He recognized patterns. Patterns of thought, patterns of interpretation, patterns of reaction. And patterns are learned. And if a person repeatedly worries about the future, the nervous system adapts gradually to that pattern. If someone constantly evaluates themselves negatively, the brain will strengthen those pathways. And if neutral thoughts are interpreted as threats, even though there's nothing dangerous going on, the fear response becomes easier and easier to activate over time. The brain is not broken in these situations. It's trained. And that leads to a really powerful question. If the brain can learn patterns that create suffering and distress, can the brain then also learn patterns that create calm, strength, and clarity instead? The answer, according to modern neuroscience, is yes. The brain changes through repetition, through focused attention, through structured learning. That's the entire essence of the training program. This is called neuroplasticity. And Nordic Mindset is actually built entirely around that principle. So here's how stress, anxiety, and depression are created. Let's look at stress for a moment. Stress is rarely caused by the present moment itself. It's actually usually caused by thoughts about what might happen, concerns about performance, maybe fear of not being enough, fear of missing out, fear of what others think. Worry activates the nervous system. Repeated worry keeps the nervous system activated. And over time, that activation begins to feel normal. Anxiety actually works in a very similar way. A thought appears. The mind assigns it meaning. The body reacts to that meaning. If a thought is interpreted as dangerous, even though it might not be, the brain activates the amygdala, the fear center, and the nervous system shifts into high alert, and therefore the body prepares for threat. If this cycle is repeated often enough, anxiety becomes the new norm. It becomes familiar. Not because anxiety is permanent, but because it is practiced. It's trained. Depressive states often follow a similar structure. When a person repeatedly focuses on thoughts of loss, limitation, or inadequacy, the emotional state follows the thought pattern. The brain strengthens what it uses most. This is not judgment, by the way. It's actually just biology. The mind moves in the direction of repeated focus. That means you can train. So instead of asking, what's wrong with me? A more constructive question becomes, what have I, over time, again and again, trained my mind to focus on? And of course, more importantly, what can I train it to focus on instead? This is where Nordic Mindset differs in its approach. We don't primarily focus on analyzing the past. Don't get me wrong, understanding your history can be helpful, but understanding alone does not automatically change your neurological patterns. Real change requires practice, just like anything else. Structured, repeated mental training. The Nordic Mindset 120-day program is designed around 32 mental tools, and each tool represents a principle that strengthens psychological resilience. Participants receive daily 10-minute video training sessions, structured worksheets to reinforce learning, weekly one-on-one sessions with a certified mindset mentor who guides you and supports you, and access to a supportive community. The system is step by step, it's not random, and it certainly is not overwhelming. Each week builds upon the previous one, and you'll find that the tools fit together like pieces of a puzzle. The goal is not temporary relief, the goal is skill development. Just as physical fitness requires repeated training, mental strength requires repeated psychological practice. So here's how the program actually works. Many people have been taught that the solution to mental distress is a diagnosis. Now, a diagnosis can describe a condition, but it doesn't train new mental habits. A diagnosis is actually just documentation that you have a problem. Others have been taught that conversation alone is enough. Now, don't get me wrong, conversation can create understanding and insight, which is great. But understanding and insight must be followed by implementation. And some rely only on medication. Now, medication can reduce symptoms, but it also comes with a bunch of side effects. And long-term change requires internal skill building. Nordic Mindset focuses on building those mental skills. We help people develop rational thinking patterns, emotional regulation, present moment awareness, solution-focused attention, personal responsibility, and structured daily mental discipline. Over time, these skills compound and fit together like pieces of a puzzle. The nervous system becomes calmer, thought patterns become clearer, reactivity decreases, self-trust increases. This is not about suppressing emotions at all. It's about understanding how thoughts generate emotional states and learning how to guide that process consciously. The program also emphasizes lifestyle, like sleep, structure, daily habits, your mental environment, who you spend your time with. Because thoughts do not live in isolation. They are influenced by how we live. When mental training and lifestyle alignment work together, change becomes sustainable. One of the most important principles we teach here at Nordic Mindset is this. You cannot control every thought that appears, but you can train how you respond to it more intelligently. And that response, repeated consistently through training, rewires your brain. Over 120 days, participants gradually shift from automatic negative patterns to intentional, skill-based mental leadership. And the aim of the program is simple: to reduce wasted mental energy, to reduce internal conflict, to build clarity, to strengthen emotional balance, and ultimately to create freedom in the mind. So if you're tired of wasting your precious time on mental distress, if you want practical tools rather than abstract theory, why not book a free alignment call with us? You'll get to talk to me or one of my Mindset Mentor colleagues. We'll talk about your situation. The call is absolutely free, no strings attached. We'll hear about your challenges, You can hear about what the program has done for other clients and see if this fits your situation. The conversation is not about pressure. It's about clarity for you. Mental strength is not reserved for a select few. Mental strength is actually just like any other skill, something you can train. You can be good at it or not so good at it. And when the mind is trained with structure and consistency, life begins to feel different. You'll feel calmer, clearer, happier, more stable. So thanks for listening and welcome to Nordic Mindset.